Hi guys, it's me, Tiffany. So I'm here to show you some of the things that I get into during the fall and the winter. So a lot of times we might think that gardening is something we do in the spring, but that's not necessarily true. We do, at least I do, little things all along the way to kind of keep my garden going. So you see in front of me 3 bags. And the reason why I have these 3 bags is because they called for a frost about 2 weeks ago, and we got some cold weather, and I moved a lot of my plants into the greenhouse. So, of course, decisions had to be made, limbs had to be cut to get things into the greenhouse. So, when you have extra limbs, it's like, why not try to propagate them? So, the 3 plants that I have tried to propagate are pomegranate. This is a pomegranate, and honestly, the pomegranate had a pretty bad wound at the trunk. So I just cut the pomegranate, period. I got rid of the whole plant. And this part was good. So I thought, well, maybe I'll try to root that and see if it'll come along. And then here in the center is a honey murcot tangerine. I told you that the tree was too big. I actually sold it. A nice gentleman came and picked it up about 2 days ago. And I already have a smaller plants, 2 smaller plants really propagated. But I went ahead and cut these just in case and to see if I can make more plants. The last thing that I tried to propagate was the Barbados cherry. And here are the leaves from that. So you might wonder, what did I do? All I did was take the plants, I cut them, and I wet them just a little bit, dipped them in rooting hormone, and then I stuck them in sterile potting mix. And that's pretty much it. The rest is a waiting game. Now that potting mix is slightly wet. It is not dripping wet by any means. A big issue that I have when I try this is just keeping the soil moisture right. If you get it too wet, it's just a lot of rotten fungus that comes along. If it's dry, then the plant desiccates. If you'll notice, I had plastic bags over these. The thought behind that is that I just water this once and that's it, and put the plastic bags over them, and the plastic bags will keep in the moisture so I don't have to continually water these. So these are doing pretty good. This pomegranate was going dormant, so I don't really expect it to push leaves anytime soon. Honestly, if these do take, it might be another 2-3 months before I see any sign of it, and that's fine. But one thing I want you to notice is that this is still green. And I'm struggling with the camera here, but if you look, you can see evidence of green. Where there's green, there is life. So these are not dead at all. Yes, they did drop their leaves except for this one, but that's because the plant was going dormant anyway. Here with my honey murcot tangerine, this looks great. Some things that I do, if you notice that I have cut off the bottom leaves because I don't need them, and then notice the top leaves, I actually cut those honestly into about 1/4. The reason behind that is that plants transpire or they lose water through their leaves. Now this does not have any roots, so losing water through leaves is a problem. But it does need leaves to photosynthesize. So I cut the leaves to reduce the transpiration, but I left them on there to give it a chance to photosynthesize. And again, I put the bag on there to help it maintain its moisture. And in my experience with these, it'll be probably a good 3 months before I see any roots. And that's because these are not ideal growing conditions. It's not like warm summer weather. And so it just takes it a while. Now, I have absolutely zero experience with Barbados cherry. Know nothing about it. I don't know if this form of propagation is going to be successful. But there is something that's making me quite hopeful. So I'm going to have to zoom in. So as I'm looking up and down the stems of this plant, I'm seeing little areas of possible potential new growth. And I don't think those little areas were there. There's another one right there. And even down here. Like, I see signs to where it's trying to grow more leaves. So, I don't know. It seems good. The leaves that I left on there, I did cut the leaves here as well. They seem to be in decent shape. Does it have roots? I don't know. So what I find most difficult is just leaving these alone. I want to take a sneak peek and be like, are there roots there? But I have to remember that if I'm constantly pulling those little sticks out of the soil, then I could potentially be ripping any roots that they have and causing damage to the plant. So I pretty well try to just leave these alone at least for several months, 2 to 3 months. A better sign is just to wait until I see some pretty good growth. And when I start seeing some pretty good growth, a lot of times there are roots. So I'll keep you updated on these. There's actually something else I want to show you. So let me show you that. So another random thing I'd like to tell you about is I had gone to my doctor's office and I was just talking to my doctor about my growing things and stuff and how I had harvested a persimmon and everything. And she mentioned, well, out there beside the parking lot, there's a persimmon tree. American persimmon, of course. But I mean, I've been going to that doctor's office for years and years and never knew there was a persimmon tree out there. So guess what I got to harvest? And I say that lightly. The nearest branch to the ground was about 10, 15 feet off the ground. So of course, I didn't pick these. I just walked around and pretty well was picking up fruit off the ground. And I know they look nasty, and no, I'm not going to eat them. So you might be like, well, why did you get them? Well, something that I would love to do is to learn how to graft, right? And I have 3 name brand persimmons. And a lot of times those persimmons, this smells so good, are grafted onto American persimmon rootstock. So the reason why I picked these persimmons up is because I'm going to take the seeds out of them. And I've got to do some research, of course, and figure out what is the best way to get American persimmons to root and to grow. But my hope is to use all the seeds that I harvest from these. And there's going to be a lot of seeds because I have a lot of these. I probably need to get to work on that, really. Take all the seeds and use them to grow rootstocks. So I can take my Ichikike gyro, my fuyu, and my what I think is a gyro persimmon, and maybe make some clones of them. So guys, that's pretty much it. That's what I've been up to. Just finding little things to get into. And just thinking of how can I improve my garden for the next year. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.